Hello, this is Jim Duffy of Refining Fire Chiles, and we're going to give you a little peek at the start of our season. By start of the season, I mean the beginning of growing the plants outside, not starting the seed indoors. So, which we do. So over here we have a lot of our personal plants. These are our plants that we have grown and developed earlier and faster than the plants that we are selling in plant sales from mid-May till mid-July. Most of those are in here. So what we've done is, after we grew these plants and developed them underneath lights in the garage, underneath LED lights, quantum board LEDs, Spiderformer 1000 and Vivasun 1000 are the lights we used, 16-hour light cycle. We found that we can go right into the greenhouse with the plants because the greenhouse is a polycarbonate panel that has UV protection built in. So it does filter some of the light, so you're not going to straight 100% sunlight. Then we'll leave the plants in here. There's a tray of some personal plants right there, the second tray over right there. And we will leave them in here for about 2 days, 3 days. If it's at that time of the season where we can transplant outside. If it's not, and it still has cold nights, then they stay in here until the weather warms up. So right now the weather's warming up. It's time to come out. So these have been in here a day, so we'll leave them in there about 2 more days. Not in any hurry. We've got plenty of plants out here to transplant into these pots. These are 15-gallon pots. And the soil, or medium, you want to call it, is a mushroom compost mix that we get in Dalton, Georgia. So a lot of people say, like, oh, what soil do you use? Well, if you don't live in my region, it doesn't, I mean, I can tell you what I use, but you're not going to find it because you don't live in my region. You're going to just have to go to another landscape soil provider, which is what I recommend you do for growing in pots or in the ground. Don't buy this bagged soil like Ocean Forest and all that other stuff, unless you're going to do like a dozen pots and that's it. Go out and get a good compost mix that's not too hot. This is a mushroom compost mix, so it's got pine bark and sand in it, and it drains well. And all I'll do for the first 4 or 5 years growing in it, this is year 3, is I'll top it off. So when I pull the plants out, I lose about 1/3 of the soil, and I just replace that top third of soil. And then we have a drip system where the drip is on 1 gallon per hour emitters, as you can see there, coming off a 1/2-inch line. And we run that 10 minutes twice a day. That's all we run it, 10 minutes twice a day. So today, we are going to transplant some plants. It's about 3 hours before dark, and that's when we want to do it. Unless we get a cloudy day. Right now it is cloudy, the clouds are coming in, but earlier it was blue skies. We're not going to transplant in the middle of the day. So why do you want to transplant towards the end of the day? Well, you transplant towards the end of the day, the plants aren't getting beaten up by that full sun. They're going to shock a little bit when you transplant them anyway. So it's best to do it the last 3 hours of the day, and then it has a good 8-9 hours of darkness for the plant to kind of recover. It's still probably going to wilt on you a little bit the next day, but don't overwater it. Just make sure the soil's moist. Now, what are we going to, how are we going to do our transplant process? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to soak these pots really good. They don't have to be soaked down to the bottom because the plant isn't going to the bottom. So we're going to soak these pots really, really good, dig an extra deep hole, and in that plant hole, we are going to put something new. This is a mineral blend from the Bionutrient Food Association. And it says 5 pounds for 200 square foot on added before planting. We're just going to put a scoop, which is a 1/3 cup scoop. We might go in the house and get a 1/4 cup. And we're going to put that below the root ball. And then we're going to put a tablespoon of the mycorrhiza, Extreme Gardening Granular Mycorrhiza fungi. After we do that, we are going to put the drip head right next to the plant. Now later on we might move it away from the plant, but now that the plant is young, it doesn't have a giant root system, we want to put the drip head close to the plant. So we want to have a really well-soaked plant so the plant's not starving for water. It's in a nice wet environment, but not too wet. And then put the drip head next to it. And then when the plants get a little bit bigger, we will drop the netting. There's the isolation netting. Okay? We will drop the isolation netting over the plants. So that's the plan. So we've got about 550 plants to do. We'll probably get, about 50, 60 done today. And then we'll continue on tomorrow afternoon. And we'll go all week. Now, if there's a day, next Thursday, it might get up to 89, 90. We might skip that day and wait till it drops back down to like high 70s, low 80s. We're ahead as far as transplanting goes if we start today. Because last year we didn't start getting stuff into the second week of May. So our nursery plants that we have for sale right now are being fed heavily, and they should be ready to ship in 2 to 3 weeks. So we don't have to do anything with them except feed them every couple days. And so right now, with the weather nice, it's not going to fall below 60 at night. We are going to transplant the plants you see here. And these are our plants for seed production. So we don't have to really worry about having shade cloth above them, even though Georgia has hot summers, because we have a tree canopy behind us, which blocks out probably 30% of the day of sun, at least, or more. So the plants don't get full blazing sun from sun up to sundown. And then my house here blocks probably the last hour or two a day, partially. So it's pretty good. We don't need shade cloth, even though we spent $1,000 on shade cloth the first year, which was a mistake because it was too much shade and we didn't get production. We removed the shade cloth last season, got way more production. But now we're going with a new method. And that new method is we're going to use this stuff from the Bionutrient Food Association, which you can become a member. They're nonprofit and they're also research-based. And this is the mineral blend. We're going to put this in the hole with the mycos. And then we have a liquid feed that we can either spray on the leaves or we can just put on the roots. And we're going to do that once a week. That's inside my house right now. So we're going with a whole new system of feeding and nurturing the plants. We also got this bioavailable silica compound called Dune, D-U-N-E, like the movie. And we're going to foliar feed that on the plants once a week too. Because the silica is supposed to help the plants uptake the nutrients better and make them stronger and healthier. And you don't use much of it. It's only 1 milliliter per gallon, which is not even a third of a dropper full. So we'll be using that Dune formula as well. So that's going to be the new things we're going to use here. So anyhow, I got to get going. I only have about 3 hours left to do what I want to do. Tomorrow I'll have a little bit of help. But yeah, we'll probably be able to, by the end of the week, have 1/3 of our seed plants transplanted, which is excellent. Maybe more, maybe half. Lizards are outside. As you can see, he's wandering around. Probably feed him tomorrow. So, anyway. Transplant a few hours before dark. If you can get a cloudy day, do it on a cloudy day. You can do it earlier than a few hours before dark. Make sure your pots are watered well so the root system goes into a nice thing. Break up the roots a little bit. You don't have to break them up really bad unless they're really tight from being in the pots. Break up the roots a little bit. Put a good organic nutrient, rabbit manure, that mineral blend I just showed you, or something else below the root ball with some mycos. And that gives yourself a foundation, because the roots are the foundation of the plant. If the roots are super healthy and super strong and can do their job, that will transfer into the plant and proper photosynthesis for the plant. So this has been Jim Duffy of Refining Fire Chiles. I will post this on Facebook and later on YouTube. Y'all take care now. Bye-bye.